So this is the Combat Station. I'm your host, Ty Matthews, and today we have former Olympian and current pro boxer Jason Whateley. Now, mate, let's start off. How you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No, anytime, mate. Obviously, I'm in the UK, so um, I don't. What time is it for you there?
We've got 3 p.m. a bit after. It's about 3:30.
3:30. Yeah, no, 6 a.m. here. So
Oh, is it nice and early there? Yeah, no,
yeah,
right,
no,
just in the arvo here, mate.
yeah, got my nice morning tea in. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's start off. So obviously you got a quick knockout in your last fight, 2 rounds. What would you rate your performance in that fight?
Look, it's hard to say, mate. I sort of came out. I was a bit rusty at the start. It had been a while between fights, and the plan was for me to come out and sort of get a bit of a gauge of what was happening and sort of take it easy and sort of look at what sort of traps I could set and that sort of thing. And then yeah, luckily in the second round I sort of came out and I found a hole and plugged it with my right hand, mate, which was good.
Now, obviously you have 10 knockouts out of 11 wins, I believe. How what would you rate your power in the cruiserweight division? Do you think it is above average for the division?
I think so. I think it is pretty good. You know what I mean? Like I've been getting some good knockouts. Like I've had a couple of good one-punch knockouts. So I think the power's there. It's definitely there. I think my ability to land the shot is probably my best asset. I'm good at thinking my way through and finding holes and landing clean shots. That's probably what I'm best at. I've started with a new strength coach over the last couple of year and a half, and he's developed my power heaps and not just my punching power, but just being in the ring and not being pushed around and just feeling a lot stronger. So yeah, I think it's pretty good at the moment, mate. To be honest, I think I'm punching hard enough.
What do you want next? Is there any idea of like, would you like a step up? Like, what is your plan for your next fight?
Yeah, definitely, man. I'd definitely like to step up. I've always been keen on fighting for the Commonwealth title. I think it holds a lot. It's a very prestigious title and holds a lot of weight. And it's something that since I turned pro, I've always wanted to have a go at. So I'd love to get a crack at that this year. If it's not my next fight, maybe down the track this year, though, I'd love to have a go at that title. That's probably one of my main goals as a professional is to have a crack at that. But as for my next fight, I'd love to step up, mate. If I can get another like a good Aussie or even fly someone in, I'm willing to step up. And as soon as I turned pro, I wanted to be fighting good fights, and I fought on the world stage for so long that I wanted to try and keep that momentum going. But boxing's a bit of a business, and it's hard to get them matchups and the opponents that you're after. So, but I'm definitely keen, man. I'm real keen to step up now and get a good fight in.
Are there any domestic scraps in general that you are maybe looking at for the future at some point?
Mate, whatever gets me higher up the ranks and gets me the most money, to be honest. Look, there's obviously we've got Jai Opetia fighting for a world title in the cruiserweight division, which is exciting for Australian, as the cruiserweights. But there's a lot of good cruiserweights around. It's just, like I said, just trying to get the right matchups and getting everyone to work together is the hard part.
On that quickly, do you think Jai Opetia, do you think he will beat Marius Breedis? Do you think you will get a world champion in Australia?
You know what, mate? I actually reckon he will. I do. I purely do, just because, look, I've gone and done some rounds with Jai recently. He's sharp. He's looking good. He's nice and strong. And the other thing, I just think Breedis is just overlooking him. He sort of hasn't even mentioned him really at all, has he? He's sort of just talking about Jake Paul and Lawrence Okoli, and he doesn't seem to be paying any attention, and it can be quite dangerous, especially you find someone Jai's pretty good. He's a good fighter, so to be overlooking him is probably a silly move by him. So I think it'll be a good fight, and I'm very excited to watch it. Hopefully, I can get on the undercard.
Do you think it's better for the division as well if you get a champion from Australia? Do you feel that will help fighters like you maybe be able to move up the rankings quicker, get more domestic fights?
Yeah, I reckon 100%. It sort of puts your eyes on us a little bit, and then who knows, maybe down the track, maybe I'll get a crack in. If Jai wins, it might be a way for me to get a crack at the world title and get to fight Jai and take that off him. So, it can only be a good thing for us as a country to get a legitimate world champion in it. we're a pretty small country, a small pool of fighters. So if we were able to land a world champ like that, it'd be massive for the sport in Australia, and it's only going to get more eyes on the sport, which is good. As you know, that's how us fighters sort of make a living, as people watching us. So if we can get more eyes on, and then, like I said, it's going to give me an opportunity, hopefully, to fight Jai down the track for a world title, which would be unreal.
Now, obviously, you're early into your pro career. How would you say the change from amateurs to pro has been, and what is the main differences of getting used to the pros from the amateurs?
Look, it's more suited to my style. My style's always been probably a bit more suited to the professionals. I'm an endurance athlete, so I sort of had to force my way to fight as an amateur. Trying to do the 3 rounds, it was quite forced for me. Even if I go for a run, I'm not a sprinter. I'm a long distance runner. It's like, so as the rounds go on, I'm going to get better, and my engine's always really good. So for me, hasn't been a huge difference. The only main thing would probably be, sparring partners and, doing the longer rounds. So instead of doing, 4 to 5 rounds or something for an amateur style, trying to go flat out, you're trying to get 10 to 12 rounds out in sparring. And it's hard to get the sparring partners who can sort of do that with you. So it's trying to, get the times right, where you're going to get 2 sparring partners in the same day. One might do 5 rounds, the other one's going to come in and do 5 rounds after him, or 6 and 6, or whatever they can do to sort of get me through 12 rounds. So that's probably been the biggest thing, is the difference in rounds in sparring. It's just doing a lot more sparring, and obviously in training as well, like pads and bag and all that sort of stuff. You're doing more rounds rather than sprinting flat out like you were in the amateurs.
Now, right now, what level do you feel you are on just currently, and how are improvements going since you started? Do you feel you've improved heavily from when you first came to the pros?
I don't know what level I'll be. I think I'm at the pinnacle of the domestic level. I think definitely at the top. There's some good, like I said, there's some good cruiserweights in Australia, and I'd hope to be able to get to fight all of them and state my claim as the best cruiserweight in Australia. But I think I've definitely improved. I've definitely got a lot stronger, and I've sort of become more suited to the cruiserweight division, as in I've put weight on, and I walk around now, like 100 kilos or thereabouts. And when I first turned pro, or when I was boxing as an amateur, I'd walk around at about 90 kilos, 89 to 90 kilos. So I've filled out a lot more, and I'm a lot stronger. And, as my punching power is displayed, I'm able to sit down a lot more on my shots and start knocking people out. And at the end of the day, mate, that's what I want to do. I'm in there to hurt people, so that's what I want to be able to do, and that's what the plan is. So I feel like I've improved in that way, and hopefully I can keep going that way as well, mate. Keep knocking them out.
Now, if you could have one fight from any fighter, any generation, who would you fight? What would be your dream fight?
Oh, dream fight. That's a good question, mate. I don't know who I'd fight. There's so many good ones. I don't know if I'd want to fight him, but my favourite fighter, one of my favourite fighters of all time, I love watching him, is Evander Holyfield. He sort of come cruiserweight into the heavyweights. Don't know if I'd want to fight him because he was real good, but man, I think it'll be a cracking fight. He had a great work rate. I think I have a great work rate. But like I said, I don't know if I'd want to fight him, but he was definitely one of my favourite fighters to watch, that's for sure. So he's up there.
Definitely, he's an all-time great. What got you into boxing in the first place? When did you start, and what is your journey getting into just where you fought at Olympic level?
Yeah. So I just was like playing AFL, so it's like football, like Aussie rules football down here. I grew up in the country, so everyone played it down there as a young bloke. Everyone played footy. There wasn't much boxing gyms around or anything like that. But my mum actually tried to get me into a boxing gym when I was 6 years old. And they pushed me away and said, no, you have to bring him back when he's a little bit older. He's too young at the moment. So when I turned 17, I sort of got myself in a fair bit of trouble as a young bloke and fighting, playing footy and kicked out of school and all that sort of nonsense. And then I was playing footy, and they used to have a tournament in my country town where they'd pick a footballer from one club and then pick another one from a rival club, and they'd train at different gyms. And then at the end of the year, they'd have a tournament. So there'd be a tournament, like a proper amateur boxing tournament. And at the end of the show, they'd have the the two footballers fight off. So they asked me if I was keen. I jumped at it. Like, I used to always love the boxing sessions that we did at football. And, I put my hand up. I think we did about 10 weeks training beforehand. And then I got in, had my first fight. And I was so nervous. Like, I was real nervous. I remember I was just walking around. I didn't use my jab. Like, when I was boxing in the gym and that, I had a good jab and all that. But as soon as the lights were on, and like I said, I was the main event for the show. I was only 17. I couldn't even eat. I was shitting myself. I was following him around, just with my left hand out, just trying to bomb him with right hands. And I was going down into the last round. I think I was down 12-6. So I wasn't doing too well, but I knew I was real fit. And then came out at the start of the third and knocked him out with the right hand. And I just fell in love with the sport, man. I gave football away, and and then the journey sort of continued from that. I think that was like 2008. I ended up started 2010. I went to Cuba. I got a silver medal at the Nationals, and then I sort of realised that maybe I could have a proper crack at this. I was on the world stage after only like 10 fights. Probably fluked it a little bit to be there, but you know what? I was still there, and I thought, imagine if I put a little bit more time into this, who knows where I could go. So that's sort of how my journey started, mate. It was just a bit of a muck around down at the footy. I just sort of thought, I wanted to tick it off the list to say I had done it. I had one fight at least, and but then I fell in love with it, and I'm addicted to it now, mate. It's my life. That's all I do. I run a boxing gym. I box. I train. That's all I do.
Well, mate, it's clearly the right decision. And what is your favorite thing to do outside of boxing? Do you have any other hobbies?
I spend a lot of time with my dogs, man. I love my dogs. I've got a Rottweiler and a Cane Corso, and I spend a lot of time with them, and try and get out with them as much as I can, and just spend time with the family and stuff, man. But I ride a bike, I ride a Harley as well, so if I can get out on that, I'll try and get out on that. But if not, like I said, I'll try and spend a bit of time with dogs and train them and do all that sort of stuff.
Let's end the interview on one important question. What's your favorite thing to eat?
Favorite thing to eat, mate? Everything. I love everything, but I can't go. Oh shit! What do I look for? Man, I struggle not to have ice cream when I'm in camp. I've even made my strength coach, like he does my food plan and that. I make him put in I get one paddle pop. It's only 80 calories. At the end of the day, I still get my one paddle pop, and I'm all right. And otherwise, I struggle without my ice cream.
Mate, I know the pain every time I go on a diet. You see, I don't even have to diet. I just get done in anything near me. I'm horrible.
That's the same. It's the way you work in the supermarket and you see all the stuff in there, mate. It's a rough time.
Anyway, anything you want to say to your fans before we go?
No, mate. No, just thanks for having me on. And just anyone who's listening, I hope you enjoyed it and get a bit of insight on what the fight is like.
Well, mate, I can't wait to see you fight soon. Thank you for your time. And yeah, hopefully we do have you back on here soon.
No worries, mate. Anytime. Thanks heaps, brother.
This has been the Combat Station, and we are out.